Okay, it's Turbo Tuesday, gang. Good morning. And of course, we are sticking with the theme the entire week. That concept that we are only limited by the beliefs in our mind, and that relates to the fitness pillar that we have as well. What are the limitations we're seeing there? Just because of what we've put in our mind, right? Our attitude, our decision process. So we're going to cover a few things with this today. I'm so excited. There's so much going on this week. Oh my word. So excited. Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple of things, of course, on the app. But this is, as I mentioned this week, this entire week, we are going to be talking about we are only limited by the beliefs in our mind. And that is absolutely true with Turbo Tuesday, because how many of you know that we have the non-scale victories that we could be thinking about as we take our journey and we're not seeing the results that we think we need? Isn't it easy for us to believe, well, I guess I can't do that well? But in fact, if we're looking at all the elements that DDPY teaches, all the different categories of things to look for, the photographs, the measurements, the workouts, tracking those, all the different things that we can track, in fact, will show us that even in our fitness pillar that we're headed the right way. But it's not any one singular thing, you guys, that we would focus on if we're looking for all well health, right? So as we talk about, we are only limited by the beliefs in our mind. I'm anxious to share with you one in our family right here that happened to put a fabulous non-scale victory out there yesterday. I don't know how many of you saw it, but it's, of course, it's Dennis Ditweiler, and not to confuse Dennis with Denise, which I did the other day. So this is a public apology to Dennis for saying your name wrong. I totally know that you are Dennis, but anyhow, so Dennis Ditweiler put on a post, and this is totally the thought process, you guys. This is the positive thought process when your belief is in where you're headed, right? And so he puts, yesterday was my 4-month measure and photo day. There was not a whole lot of change in the measurements, but the difference in the photos and the flexibility were certainly encouraging. And Dennis, I thank you for putting that out there. Okay, so in this case, yeah, the measurements weren't a victory for him, or at least what he thought it would look like after 4 months, right? But he looked at the things that he did accomplish, and he was seeing that in his photographs and his flexibility. So I thank you, Dennis. What an example you are of focusing on the non-scale victories, you guys. It goes back to, we are only limited by the beliefs in our mind. If we continue to look for the non-scale victories, we will always have something to celebrate, correct? And if you go on to our app today, I'm not going to do this actually for you, but I'll lead you to the spot, okay? If you go to DDPY TV, an excellent one to look at is the one that's called Update Your Measurements. DDP on this particular video in DDP TV talks about all the things that we document, right? Because we document pain levels. That's actually the picture you're looking at right now. You're documenting pain levels. You're documenting your, excuse me, what am I thinking? Blood pressure. You're documenting all of these different things. And by documenting all the different things, the photographs, all of the things, right? Matter of fact, DDP in that, when you watch that, he talks about just the photos alone tell us, when you're looking at the photos, it tells you your physiology, your flexibility, and your core strength. So isn't it cool that Dennis said, well, but I can tell in the photos and my flexibility that I'm making progress at 4 months, right? That is exactly why, you guys, specifically when you're looking at your fitness pillar, don't look at the fitness pillar like in a singular one tunnel vision, look at it in its entirety, which is what DDP talks about in that very thing. It is your measurements, sure. It's the scale that we step on in the bathroom, sure. Everything adds up, but not one single thing should be what you bank your victories on, or one single thing should affect your mindset. So thank you, Dennis, for setting that example. I thought it was pretty cool that you did it right at the same time that I wanted to make sure we all understood non-scale victories, specifically as it relates to our fitness pillar. You guys know that you did the work, right? Put in the work. But for those of us like myself, where it's a knee issue, those are not going to show up as real fast scale victories, right? Those are going to be things that over time. And I will share one with you that I can remember one point I was sitting at a doctor's appointment with my mom, waiting for her doctor's appointment. And I looked down, and at that moment, I had my legs crossed, my one leg over the other, like which would be common to many of you women. You sit like that, right? But I hadn't been able, because of my two knee injuries, I hadn't been able to cross my legs for almost 9 years. So I looked down at my legs and I'm like, whose legs are crossed right there? And as I was sitting in shock, my mom looked over and saw the same thing. She goes, "Oh my gosh, Pam, your legs are crossed." Well, I'll tell you what, you guys, there were plenty of times, just as Dennis did, that I would do different measurements and photos and stuff. And I would look at that in its entirety and think, okay, I'm doing the work, but I don't necessarily see everything, the results. But then there's those moments, like when you look down and your legs are crossed, and you know that every bit of that fitness, every bit of the workouts that I did in the app and the walks I took, every bit of those added up to that moment. So celebrate your non-scale victories, you guys. That's where it's really at. Do go into the app. Always put the different things. My blood pressure kept dropping, dropping, dropping. And I'm like, wow, this is so exciting. So some weeks it was that my blood pressure was getting so much better, right? Count them all. That's why they're in the app. That's why they're important. Now, tomorrow, hang on. That's Wednesday. You get to hear Scott French, the other 30 minutes of the interview I did with him on your nutrition pillar. Powerful teaching tomorrow. Hang on, you're going to love it. And Thursday, of course, is another powerful Transformation Thursday, where you're going to hear from two in our own family here, talking about the initial start of their journey with the Positively Unstoppable Challenge. And we have Nadia, who she and Pat run that entire program. She's going to be on with us as well on Thursday. So powerful week. Have a dynamite Tuesday. Love you guys. Bye-bye.